Good evening, everybody, or good evening, as I always say. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. My name is Posh Bertie, the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, and joining me right here is the man whose mic is not muted anymore. It is Gooner Gathering's founding father, Mr. Gooner Lee Meads, on our 1 year anniversary nonetheless. Happy birthday to us. How are you, Mr. Meadows?
Posh Bertie, I am so pleased to see you on this fine day. I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing really well indeed. It's a celebration stream for us all here on Gooner Gathering. It might be a bit of a how can we put this? The stream might be bits and pieces everywhere. There's lots of stuff that could go on here. There's lots of open-ended. We could have a lot of fun with this stream. I think what today is all about is actually just a little bit of reflection of our year going solo down in Acapulco. I want to ask you,
I hope that we do stay too long, because I love doing this and I want to be here for a long time.
Well, look, you've managed to put up me as being the sole owner of the Gooner Gathering. You know what I'm referencing there. You know exactly what I'm referencing, and that's what makes this fun. We have such a laugh doing this, and I think one of my favourite quotes that we've ever done on one of our streams happened over the weekend. And it's when Declan Rice scored our goal to get back into the game on Saturday. We'll get back into talking about all that in a bit.
I was too busy being on my phone, texting.
I saw it.
Going, we are terrible. Oh, wait, Declan Rice has just pulled one back. I didn't see it. That's what it was like.
And your words to me on the stream were, "This stream is so unprofessional. I love it."
That's what we're about. No, we're always
do you know what we're about? Ladies and gentlemen, we are all about having a lot of fun, and we're all about enjoying ourselves, and that's exactly what we do, and that's why we are here. Big hello to Mile High Hotspur. I saw your comment that you made to us a little bit before the stream. Thank you so much for that. They say happy birthday, GG. Big up. Wish you many more. Stacey, of course, is in the chat. Saying it too late, Posh.
She asked me to message her saying, please let me know when you're going live, because I'm packing for things. And I said, all right. Said, here we go, we're live now. And she was there anyway, so good on you.
I missed you too. I did too, so it's all good. True Gooner, Josh, hello, mate. It's lovely to see you, mate. I'll be in touch with you very, very shortly, young man. Where would you like to start today's stream, Posh? Because what I think we should do is, shall we just have a little bit of fun in terms of Saturday's game against Chelsea? Do you have any sort of retrospective thoughts on what happened during the match? Do you have any thoughts on tactically how we played? One thing I think we're going to agree on is that we didn't start great. We actually said that on our live. What say you in terms of starting 11s? What say you on our first half performance for start?
Okay, so obviously I'm pleased that we got the 2 goals back in the end, but that doesn't excuse the fact that overall that was one of our most poor performances I've seen in a long time. Probably one of our worst performances this season, I'd say. The starting 11 I thought was okay, if I remember correctly. I was a bit skeptical over Jorginho starting, but he held himself well against Man City. I thought hopefully he can pick up that form against Chelsea.
Remind you.
Oh yeah.
I've got it there.
But yeah,
you haven't just taken it away, have you?
No, I haven't. Let me get it back up. There we go.
He's going to get it up for us. There you go. Thanks, mate.
There we are. But I think David Raya. Now he was very shaky. That's probably an understatement. It was not his best game against Chelsea. Yeah, he did pick up the ball well a couple of times, but I think there were times even you and I thought, yeah, he's not looking the best, and I would go as far to say, well, I don't know if Ramsdale's going to be back in time for tomorrow. I don't think he will. I mean, his wife has just given birth, and I would presume he would spend a few days with. We're going to get to the Ramsdale situation in a minute. Or
Wow. What I can tell you is I've seen Ramsdale training today.
Okay, because I would
Prior
start
to them
him against
obviously
Sevilla.
flying out to Spain. Now, I'm not sure I'm a massive fan. Shall I just get rid of that for a moment?
Yeah,
I'll get rid of that.
There you
go. I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of jumping on a goalkeeper when they make a mistake, because that goalkeeping position is the most difficult place to be on the field. I think Mikel Arteta has brought Raya in, quite honestly, because he sees qualities in him, and we've seen it.
He's a good goalkeeper.
He is a good goalkeeper. But what I'm saying is, just because he got caught out, and he did get caught out on the Modric goal, you guys will be absolutely right in saying that. Of course he got caught out. Did Modric mean it? I'm not sure he did, looking back at it. So look, what I will say is we got beat. So we will say we were in the position. Say we were 2-0 down. I don't think you can't say for a penalty kick, for example, which we'll get back to in a moment. He went the wrong way. Of course he did, and he got lobbed via a cross by Modric. But I will say this. There was a moment, and I think it's very underrated, and I made sure I clipped it on the shorts. And there was a point where he at 2-0, he's come out and he's claimed the ball in a one-on-one sort of save situation. Matt's just jumping in, so we'll see him in a second. So we made this one-on-one save, which kept us very much in the game. Hello, Matt. How are you, sir?
Hi. I'm not too bad, thanks. I'll let you carry on.
Thanks, mate. So what I'm saying is, look, I think Arteta has made a decision. I think we will see Ramsdale play a bit more. I think the next time we will see Ramsdale will be the West Ham game in the Cup next Wednesday, right? And like you said a minute ago, yes, obviously his partner's just had the little boy, I believe, and I think it'll be a lot of pressure for him to come in for tomorrow for the Champions League game. I will definitely be happy seeing Ramsdale in the squad. I think I'm keeping Raya in goal for Tuesday, but you might think differently.
I think I would probably start Ramsdale in goal on Tuesday. I think it's come to a time where it's a tough one, really. But Raya looked more shakier than usual on Saturday, and I just think maybe we might need a bit of a changing goalkeeper. I'm not saying change goalkeepers every single game, because that's not what I'm saying. But I think get Ramsdale in for the next few games. Maybe the Sevilla game probably. Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. Maybe we'll go back into that in a little bit. Matt Roberts is with us today. Hello, sir. How you been, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. How are you both?
Do you know what?
Great.
All good, mate. All good. had a very busy day in the full-time job today. Was looking forward to jumping in on our anniversary stream, as I was saying to Posh Bertie a little bit ago. 1 year ago exactly, we decided to have this little go at playing this YouTube game, or being our own bosses, if you like. Stacey says hello to you, Matt, and so let's bring you into the conversation. We've just been talking about the men's goalkeeper situation. Raya's been playing, of course. Ramsdale, of course, missed over the weekend because his partner gave birth. A little bit of criticism has come about because he got lobbed on a bit of a freaky goal, to be fair, with Mudryk. What is your position on the goalkeeping situation as we say hello to AFC always? Thanks, mate.
Well, when it comes to the goalkeepers, you're always going to have different styles, different ways of playing. So essentially, you have so many different ways that you can play with different goalkeepers. So Ramsdale is very much a shot stopper, more of a traditional goalkeeper, a bit similar to a Jordan Pickford, who would just like to after making a huge save, would take a breather, slow the game down a little bit, won't look to distribute that ball as quickly as, say, a David Raya would do. And it's where you think about when to use them. So obviously David Raya might not be able to play against Brentford, so Aaron Ramsdale will have to come in for that game. Yeah. But at other times, there are teams that will play that. They will target try and put those crosses into the box. And David Raya is a good goalkeeper for that. But it's just, from what he was doing, he seemed very shaky and very unsure of himself. Since he's come in, he hasn't actually managed to keep a clean sheet as well, which hasn't really helped his case. Actually, no, I lie. It's the Man City game where he got the clean sheet.
He's kept quite a few clean sheets, actually.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
But I do understand people were gonna make a decision. Well, I should stop and say hello, Jez. Thank you for joining us, mate. I appreciate you being there, mate. But there are. That's the thing. When a manager makes a big decision to change the goalkeeper like he has, I think you either live by the sword or die by the sword. And I think it's very, very unlikely, especially in the situation that Aaron is in this week, for example, where he would have missed a few days training, obviously, quite rightly, looking after his wife and the child. I would suggest that jumping in on this game might be a bit much. Like I said to Posh, I think it's very likely we'll see Ramsdale play on Wednesday next week against the Hammers. But what say you?
Well, there's always the chance that he could play on Saturday or Sunday. Please forgive me. I'm not too sure who's got the TV rights anymore.
Saturday, I think. Yeah.
Saturday.
It's not a TV game this weekend, guys.
Okay. So I can't even remember who it's against. That's really bad.
Well, all right. I know you're a specialist area, mate, and we'll get to that in a bit.
But yeah,
Spencer's just jumping in. Good evening, Spencer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. It's about 2:30 here on the East Coast, and ready to talk a little Arsenal to you guys. Hope everyone's doing well. Just joined, so carry on and let me know
very much.
Pop in.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let's get your opinion on the goalkeeping situation before we get any further down the line. A lot of criticism coming David Raya's way after being chipped by Mudryk on Saturday. Maybe being a little bit uncertain on certain moments. What do you think on him? And would you be wanting to put Ramsdale back in, or do you stick with Raya for a moment?
So I went to the bar to watch the game on Saturday with my local VB Gooner group, and kind of posed the question to 3 or 4 guys I was hanging out with, and I was like, "Hey, what do you guys think?" And the overwhelming response was like, "I don't really see a major difference between the two." And I think for me, I've been chipped like that playing goalkeeper. Mudrick did not mean to shoot that on target. I don't care what he says. You can go back and look at it. His eyes are looking down. He was trying to cross the ball. But either way, Raya is too far out of his goal. He made the mistake against Linz. We could go back to Ramsdale's mistake against Southampton. We were very fortunate in the Man City game that his mistakes didn't lead to goals for Man City. And that also came down to Declan Rice being out there. Declan Rice bailed out Raya in the first game. And then, of course, what happened on Saturday. So for me, I would go back to Ramsdale. I'm not done with Raya. Like I said, I think they both have value added. Can you really rotate 2 goalkeepers? I mean, we see it sometimes with the second guys, but here's the thing that
Not all the time.
Russ Morgan said this, and he said, "Why was Brentford so willing to get rid of Raya? They just gave him to you, basically."
So the situation with Raya, I believe it was a contract situation.
Mm-hmm.
So his contract was running out next summer, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So what they were trying to do, I think, in terms of Arsenal dealing with the financial fair play situation, which I think we'll get onto a little bit later on as well. That's why Arsenal managed to get him on loan. Raya signed an extension for his Brentford contract just to help out the administrative things on the Brentford side as well. But my understanding is that the contract is there to become like loan for in regards to look into a permanent move.
It's like an option to buy deal. So I mean that was a point that was brought up, which I thought was really interesting. I think we're really fortunate to have 2 quality goalkeepers, though, if we're going to be real honest here, because one could go down. I mean, look at our injury history. I mean, guys go to training and they have issues all the time. I think Raya starts tomorrow. I don't think he makes a change. I was actually kind of surprised. I thought Ramsdale would have came back in the team, considering some of the mistakes that have been made. But again, this is in Raya's defense, because you're going to play both sides of the fence here. Raya's playing with a new back line, guys he doesn't understand where they're going to go. There is that unfamiliarity. Ramsdale has a couple of years almost with these guys. I'm good with whatever he runs on this. I'm going to be a fence post sitter on this one, because I think there's not much difference between the two, but there's not this glaring, this guy's worse than this guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair argument, and I think the discussion will probably carry on over the next couple of weeks. For
sure.
I think the other big, well, there's 2 other big talking points I think we'll probably need to go on with, and I'll go to Bertie first. Maybe just having a little look back, maybe your opinion might have changed, maybe it wouldn't have done. The Chelsea penalty. So during the live, I said, look, how is Saliba supposed to jump up and win a header without moving his arms? And of course, the ball did hit his hand. That's why the penalty was given. Yes. But has your opinion softened, or is it still the same? Penalty given, penalty not given. What do you think?
Well, he had his arm out like this. And maybe if he didn't, it would have probably gone past him. But he had his arm like this. It hit his hand, although it deflected off Gabriel, and it then managed to hit near his hand.
Yeah.
That was a handball. It wasn't a deliberate handball, but you could see that. Yeah, there's definitely hand contact with it, and I did predict that a penalty would be given, and it was true. It did happen.
You were right, sir.
I know there's a bit of a debate surrounding whether it was or not, but excuse me, there always is.
Better out than in.
I know, but there always is with Arsenal and the debates on penalties and everything. But yeah, I think it was probably more of a penalty than not, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yes, Spencer wants to jump in on this one. Good evening to Emerson Allen Kozia in the chat. Hello, mate. Welcome back into our chat.
I don't think it's a penalty. And it's just, I look at it from a defender's perspective. What is Saliba supposed to do with his arms when he's jumping for the ball? Because him and Mudryk are going for it. And Mudryk, it's almost like there's no reaction time for him to even move his arm. And we can go back. I know Terry did this on the football terrace. The different circumstances where handballs haven't been given with even I guess more time for the defender to react. For me, it wasn't a penalty. Obviously, it ended up being a penalty, but I think it was. I think they were very fortunate to get a penalty on that one. Just my opinion on that. So,
fair enough. Let's throw it to Matt. Any thoughts?
I think the problem is they keep on trying to change the handball law, and they're making it more and more ridiculous. So the fact that they've turned around and said that anything below the shirt sleeve is a handball, and it's just making it even more ridiculous. They would have been better off just turning around saying, if you touch the ball with your hand altogether, it will be a free kick or a penalty or whatever it is to the opposition. It takes away all doubt, because it doesn't matter if it was incidental, it doesn't matter if it was an accident or it's just taking a fluke deflection. That way everyone just goes, okay, it's been given as handball, fair enough. In this situation, you can see that it's definitely a penalty because it's touched his hand. But at the same point, as Spencer has said, what can you do? Because you're jumping for it and your hands just glance the ball. There's nothing you can really do in that situation unless you've got. I think I've seen someone tweet that Arsenal should look into ballet dancers because they know how to keep balance in the air.
Rio Ferdinand used to be a ballet dancer, when you believe it or not. Just get him in there. Bring him back out of retirement.
It's one of those things that you just kind of think, you know what, someone would probably do that. So you probably imagine someone doing that at Sunday League or something like that, because that's just to make sure that people aren't keeping their hands to their side and making sure that they don't touch the ball. That's the other thing as well. Is a lot of this as well has come like your defenders are putting your arms to your side, so that when you're trying to make a challenge inside the box now, so that then instead of making themselves bigger to try and get the block off, they have to make themselves smaller, and it's causing a bit of chaos as well. And they're not doing themselves any favors at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that theme probably carried on a little bit later on in the game as well. Let's read Jez's comment, because Jez is the godfather of Arsenal YouTube, of course. If you read the laws, and he makes this point very, very well. If your hand or arm is in an unnatural position and you touch the ball in the 18-yard box, it's a penalty. It's a stupid law now, but it's the law. So, and that's something that we said on the live, was that I wasn't disputing that the ball had actually hit the hand, but whether it was intentional or not doesn't seem to matter at the moment. And thank you very much for putting that in the chat, Jez. It's appreciated. Yeah, and Jez is very much an old school supporter as well as I do. And you talk about intent and you talk about natural or unnatural positions. It's just like I don't know. It's a very difficult one to call. I don't know. Maybe the law needs to be looked at again. There's the confusion amongst it is not great, and the common sense aspect of the whole VAR is very definitely there to be discussed. Anybody else want to jump in before we move on?
Yeah. So I agree with what Jeff says on there, but my takeaway would be, regardless. So if it's called every single time, regardless of intent, you could live with that more than if it's left up for interpretation, which seems like it has been. Especially look at the Bournemouth game last year. And if it's cut and dry 100%, I can roll with that. It's just when it becomes, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Sanchez issue later with the goalkeeper, but as long as there's consistency, I can live with that more than the lack thereof.
either Matt or Bertie, anything else to add on this one? Or should we move on?
Not that I can think of. Other than I think it was more, like I said, it was more, yes, it was a penalty, then no, it's not a penalty, in my opinion, because, you know, I wouldn't call this an unnatural position, having your arm out like a starfish. So, you know, it's not, but that's my opinion anyway.
I respect that opinion as well. So that's fair enough. Just to quickly interject with people in the chat, if you haven't already, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to Gooner Gathering. This is our anniversary stream today, so a little bit of a celebration, nice light-hearted discussion panel tonight, and you know, just a big thank you to everyone who's been watching us and supporting us for the whole year. It's been an amazing ride. So let's go into maybe the selection dilemmas, or the substitutions, or the maybe the obvious lack. I hope I'm not freezing, guys. Am I good?
You're fine.
Thank you. Sorry, it looks like I'm losing frames my end. Yeah, just the Thomas Partey issue. I do want to bring up, because obviously that's a big talking point. He never got any minutes over this weekend. What did you make of the decision about Partey being completely rested and ESR getting the call off the bench instead of Partey?
I want me in a good world, I wanted to see both of them come off the bench at some point. But Partey wasn't rested. I was really confused at that. But hindsight, I think that hopefully means he's going to be playing on Tuesday against Sevilla. Hopefully, with the dream midfield three that a lot of Arsenal fans have been asking for: Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. That lovely midfield trio that played together against Man City, I think, for about 15 or so minutes and did quite well in that space of time. I'd like to see it against Sevilla, because that game's a must-win on Tuesday if we want to progress well in the Champions League. So yeah, I was more confused than content seeing Jorginho, but I had hoped that, because sometimes Jorginho can play well for us, and I have praised him for his performances sometimes, but of course
did very well against Manchester City, I felt.
Exactly, but you know, we didn't want to see the Tottenham version of Jorginho where he could give the ball away against them. But I think he was a bit average, really, I think, as far as I saw in the game. And I would have substituted Partey on for him. I would have substituted Jorginho off and Partey on at half-time, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think but I think I hope Partey starts against who are we playing? Sevilla.
Yeah. So to keep up to date with the chat, Jez has just popped in and said the problem is how the offence is interpreted by the refs and the VAR. The refs seem to have no control now. Yeah, and or do the VAR have too much influence over them big decisions as well? Do you know what? It's one that's going to run and run and run. Would be interesting to see. Certainly, there's a couple of incidences over Saturday. I'd like to hear audio off, and I'm sure we probably will do by the weekend. That's one thing I think they are doing quite well, is trying to explain some of the decisions. It might seem a bit odd to us sometimes. Maybe it's the referees see things in a slightly different position than we do when we're watching it live, especially me and Podger when we're doing a live, and we're not hearing commentary and stuff. It's just us two. It's kind of difficult to figure out sometimes the big decisions.
Yeah.
So let's go to Matt. So what your thoughts on the on the substitutions and the other one I want to bring up, of course, Havertz coming on into the midfield right in that last quarter of the match and making a bit of a difference, I want to say.
Yeah, and just to interject because of what Posh has said, essentially in January we lose 2 midfielders to the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
So we've got to know how are we gonna sort that out. We've got to figure out these things now, and rather players like Jorginho and Rice and Odegaard make these mistakes now, rather than in January when it could be potentially an FA Cup, it could be the League Cup, it could be a Premier League game where we need those points or we need to get through to the next round. And they just managed to get it together and click. You can tell that at the moment it's not quite clicking, but that will come with a little bit more time together. For me, if Partey's resting, it means he can't get injured, and it also means that you give him more minutes to Smith Rowe, who has been, by some margin, a lot of fans have been calling for him to get more involved in the team. Essentially, Smith Rowe managed to keep Arteta in the job along with Saka, and there hasn't been that faith back installed, or because of the injuries and other things, it just doesn't feel like Smith Rowe is back to that Smith Rowe that we saw a couple of years ago. And the only way we can get that Smith Rowe back is by giving him minutes and allowing him to play more and more together with this team, so that he can get to know these players a little bit more than he did last season, and really, really kickstart his career. Because this problem seems to be that it's always been a niggle here and there with him. It's usually been a hamstring or a thigh injury or at the back of the leg, and it has caused a problem. But then you've got other players that have stepped up at this moment, but Smith Rowe will be learning from some of these players, the likes of I wouldn't say just Declan Rice, but Jorginho, Odegaard as well, and other more even players like Trossard and Havertz coming in has been a huge help, because they've been able to come and give him a little bit more experience and a little bit more of, right, okay, this is where I need to see the level. And Havertz, again, I don't see him as a striker, but it seemed to be at times he was playing as a striker, and allowing others to get into that area. Essentially, that's how we got the second goal, because Havertz comes back and Trossard is coming in to get the follow in and get that tap in. So it's at this moment in time, it's a lot of a hit and miss with a lot of the players. So it's just trying to find that balance, and it just needs to get that balance in correctly. And if I'm honest, if I look at that game, it's a point gained, not 2 points dropped.
That's a really great point, mate. Especially where we were at 2-0 down with about 20 odd minutes to play or thereabouts. I think I'm very much being the positive Pete of the channel and thinking, yeah, that's actually not a bad point at all. Not that I would have taken it at the start, but from where we were to where we ended up, I want to say I was content with it, is what I want to say. Just to say, Jez is out of here. I guess he's probably preparing for his stream as well. So anyone who's not subscribed to Arsenal, the History and More, please go and do so after we're done. Jez has been so good to us, and we've had him on, and we've been on his channels as well. So yeah, best wishes to Jez, and make sure you're subscribing over there. So with the question of the international fixtures and the fact that Partey is just coming back from injury as well, that's important to realise as well. He did play 45 minutes in the international break. He was actually captain, I believe, and I think they played over in the States as well. Would that have played any part in the fact that Partey wasn't involved on Saturday Spence, you're the best person to ask on this one because you're over there. What do you think on that?
Oh, I didn't watch any of the U.S. games. When it's international break, I take a break. I'm not gonna lie, but the U.S. took did play Ghana, and I think it beat them 4-0. As far as him not getting selected,
yeah,
I wonder if the game was. So you're gonna laugh at me, and here we go. So I said it when it was 2-2. I said, look, this game probably could utilize a Thomas Partey sub on top of what we already had. But I was going to put him at the right back position. But not playing.
Oh, don't upset Jez, please. Don't do it.
Hold on, hear me out. Not
good job he's left.
Yeah.
But not playing right back. Converting to a back three as a sub for the right back. So he would do as a double pivot with Rice and Partey, and then maybe we could have gotten all 3 points. That's just my gut feeling on it. He wouldn't have been playing right back at all. Absolutely not. But he would have came on for Ben White, in my opinion.
A change of formation then?
Yes. That's what I meant. Yeah. So I just utilized that to get a little shock value in there for you.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated.
You got to love it.
Yeah.
Look,
it's hard to think.
It's all about having opinions, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Hello, Del Boy. Welcome in, mate. Thank you for joining us. That's another great channel to watch. So anyone who hasn't subscribed to Del Boy Gooner TV, he's a great guy as well. So
absolutely,
thank you so much for joining us. Look how busy our chat is tonight, boys. It's great.
I just got a message saying that one Sam Wilson will be here with us very soon.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
fantastic. That'll be wonderful. All right. So what I'll do? Let's go and talk about perhaps the other big controversy of the weekend for Arsenal in terms of, so obviously the keeper for Chelsea, Sanchez, did have a memorable game, let's be honest, had a big part. I do believe he got the assist credited to him for the Declan Rice goal. But what did you think of the challenge that he made on Gabriel Jesus, which a lot of people were saying should have, or certainly Arsenal fans are saying, should have been a penalty, possibly hasn't been analysed as much as it possibly should have done by the media outlets. Let's go to Bertie, then Matt, and then Spencer, please.
Well, first of all, that was an absolute world-class assist from Sanchez for Declan Rice's goal. Fair play to him for that. But was this penalty situation? I actually don't remember it from when I was watching the game live. Anyway, was this during the time when my TV didn't work and I had to get everything fixed again?
I think it was at 2-0. I think because I think on the thumbnail there was a score thing on there as well. But
yeah, so it's a funny one because I haven't really seen like most of that particular situation, but I understand that we could be braced for yet another apology letter from the PGMOL, I think they're called, the associations regarding it. Again, like it seems that every week we get all these apologies and all these, oh, we got it wrong, we're sorry and everything. And people keep telling me, oh, it's the people in charge. Okay, but you get rid of people every week in, week out. You get new people in, week out, it seems like, and the mistakes are still being made. It's annoying.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say, really, other than the fact I'm probably not the best person to speak to when it comes to this situation because I didn't really experience it live due to the absolute downpours in beautiful Sevenoaks, where my TV the satellite messed up because of the rain. So I don't have much to say on that.
Fair enough. And in all fairness to me as well, bear in mind I was trying to keep the stream together and look after my Amy as well. It kind of passed me by a little bit on the live as well. What about Matt? Did you have any opinions on this one?
I had to look at it back. Luckily, it's been clipped up and everything, so I must have missed this one as well watching it. But when Sanchez goes to punch and he doesn't even get the ball, he gets not one but two players. That should have been looked at and gone, that's a penalty, because he hasn't got the player and he's got two players with his punch and also coming in from behind. I think it was Gabriel that he's hit as well. That should have been given as a penalty, and it's reckless. And I remember when David Gea started for United, all he was doing was punching his defenders in the face to come in for the balls. And it almost felt very similar to that sort of thing that was happening at that moment. And it seems at the moment, like every week, the PFA or the PGMLO, MOL even are apologising to
LOL.
Arsenal. Whatever way you look at it. They're always apologising to one team, and it's almost like, you know what? If we keep on apologising, it's a loyalty card, loyalty stamp on your thing, and eventually you'll get something. Like, it's like, how many of these apologies do you need before you eventually get something? Like, what do you earn at the end of the season? Do you earn the replay? Do you earn an extra bonus point? What do you get? Because it just feels really bad that, not from the refereeing point of view, that they keep having to keep on apologising, but no one's benefiting.
That's right. I totally agree. I absolutely totally agree. Spencer, what do you think on the on the Jesus and Sanchez incident?
Definitely a foul. The bar that I was at, we recognized it, and they played the replay on it on our feed, and it literally, I mean, it's just like the Onana one, and we talked about it. And as far as you guys have talked about the PGML,
Onana against Wolves, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would just stop. If I was PGML, I'd just stop making statements. Just ignore it. Just kick the can down the road, because nothing happens, right? Because think about the Manchester City comment, right? They came out and said Michael Oliver didn't want to dictate the game. He didn't want to have an impact. That's even worse than him making a statement saying, well, I didn't think it was a red card. If you came out and made that statement, I'd be like, okay, well, that the ref's opinion was it wasn't a red card. But because you come out and make these statements that we didn't want to impact the game, it's just like the earlier decision with Cole Palmer. I mean, that's borderline red. I mean, just rewatched it on the TV, and it just looks nasty. He's not even playing the ball, and it's from behind. Just a yellow card. But you know, I said this on Mr. Arsenal podcast as well. Let's not forget this. This is an entertainment business. So they want to keep people watching these games. That was the 5:30 game in the UK. I don't know if that's prime time for you guys, but on a Saturday, you know, like, hey, they want people watching this game. But the 60th minute, given the time, I think it should have been a penalty. He never plays the ball. He misses the ball completely. You know, it's definitely a pen, but it's like, I think you said it. I look at this as a point gain more than I do 3 points lost. And that's given what we know. Coming into the game, this would have been absolutely devastating. But knowing what we know after watching the game, yeah, we'll take the point all day.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. What I kind of wanted to have in front of me today when we were live is a little bit of information off the Mikel Arteta press conference. That is actually happening right now. Hello, Jordan. Welcome. So what I don't know, for example, is I don't know the state of play in terms of what Zinchenko is, the situation with him. Of course, replaced at half time. Bertie, are you having an issue there, sir?
I'm having some cat-related issues, yes. You may have seen Hetty's ear just in the top corner there. She jumped on my desk. She's off the desk now. Good girl, Hetty. Anyway, carry on.
Welcome, Hetty. Thank you for running in. So what I don't know is Zinchenko injured, or was he withdrawn as a tactical substitute? I see. And it's another professional stream here on Gooner Gathering. Bertie, it's okay, mate. It's okay.
Hey, you want me to?
There you go.
Honestly, Bertie, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. As many run-ins and cats and any other animals that want to run in during the stream, it's absolutely fine. Beautiful headset, he says, Stacey. So, so what is your position? Do you play Tomiyasu? Oh, I think actually he's done very well at left back for the times he's been on the field. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu, what do you say, you Posh?
Tomiyasu, I think when he's played, he's actually played quite well overall. Sorry about the cameo of the tail here.
It's fine. It's honestly,
but
it's fine.
yeah, honestly, I think I would start Tomiyasu against Sevilla, replacing Zinchenko. I think we need to go a bit more of a defensive approach rather than any of that inverted nonsense, as you like to say.
Absolutely right.
I thought times when Tomiyasu's come on, he's done very well, and I've been a big fan of Tommy overall. So I reckon he will get a start against Sevilla. Whether it's at left back or right back, it remains to be seen. But personally, I would take a bit more of a non-inverted approach when we're away from home against Sevilla. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Stacey. Better than getting the snake out.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. I think Sam will be with us shortly. When Sam joins us, I will bring up the WSL stuff because I think it'll be great for Matt and Sam to talk about that. I don't know how long you can be with us, Spencer, but so well, I've forgotten where I was. I've actually forgotten where I was.
Zinchenko.
So thank you. So what say you on the Zinchenko versus Tomiyasu situation? Would you go with the Japanese international or carry on with the Ukrainian?
So I've got to head off here shortly. I have another commitment here, but I wanted to give first and foremost, thank you for having me as a guest. I hear this is your 1 year anniversary, and I appreciate you having this space. I appreciate doing stuff with you and Posh, living to openness to allow this simple Yank to come join your streams. But with that being said, much more years of this and much more love from the U.S. But I'll say this much about Zinchenko, and I actually tweeted at someone about this prominence to see what their opinion of it was. I think it's time to have a discussion about Zinchenko moving to strictly midfield and strictly in the 8 role. Because
especially if Partey when he goes to AFCON.
Absolutely. So that's where I'm getting at too, Posh. You can move him to 6 and the 8, and that way he can just play in the middle of the park. He doesn't really have to worry about that left back position because think about what an inversion does, right? You're on this left side of the field, and all of a sudden you're inverted up here, and all of a sudden there's a counterattack. Well, now I have to sprint back, figure out where my man is, who I'm marking, am I doing zone or whatever. So I would absolutely think, and this is the thing, Timber was brought in for either a left back or a right back position, correct? So you have options with Tomiyasu. When Timber gets back healthy, we'll see Timber again. I would start thinking about moving Zenny to midfield. That would be my opinion. How you going, Sam?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. How is everyone?
Are you with us, Sam? I do not see you.
I can.
I'm here.
Here we go. I think we're getting another picture. Here we go. Sam Wilson, are you there, sir?
I'm here.
He is.
How are you, mate?
I'm all good.
I'm probably the only one who can't see him.
Yeah.
There he is.
Can you see my little caption? Get out of jail free card used.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Yeah, I think that's probably quite fair. I don't know how long Spencer wants to hang around for. Just to keep up with the chat, and Stacey saying, "You're not a simple Yank, Spencer. You have gorgeous kitty cats as well." So
I'm gonna head out.
Stacey is our good friend on the channel, and I know her personally, so she's a great girl.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Stacey. And again, I post short videos of the kitties all the time, but I've got to head out, gentlemen. I got other commitments. And again, Lee, keep doing the good work, brother.
Quickly,
thank you very much. We wouldn't be in the position we are without all you guys jumping in and helping us out. Let's talk about Fran as well, of course, from Goal Art. So doing her thing for us on the videos that she's done. So yeah, we have a magnificent team behind us. So
just a quick one. I like your jumper, Spencer. It's very smart.
What's up, Sam?
I said your jumper looking very smart.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. It's a good old Arsenal hoodie, brother. I like your
Is it-
shirt too. I see it's the third kit.
Yeah, it is. Have you? Is that like Arsenal merch or
Yeah,
Arsenal
it's
merch?
Adidas. It's Adidas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, smart. I like it.
Yep, I appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's Adidas. I got it on Fanatics.
Okay.
Fantastic stuff. Well, before you go, Spencer, would you like to call out your X, your Twitter, and your channel, and where you may be heading later on, so people might want to join you later on?
So I've got a full day. I got hit by Ryan about 6 o'clock, so 3 o'clock your time, right before Lee posted. I'm going to be on with Mr. Arsenal here in a minute, and I think Liam, and that's at 3 US, 8 UK, and then later tonight with Mr. Thomas Ross from I Love Leeds and Full Nelson Podcast. I'll be joining Don't Waste the Tweet. Don't Waste the Trip with Gary. But Gary's in Barbados, so it's just me, Tom, and Tony. So it'll be a hoot, and we'll talk wrestling, Arsenal, everything. So,
Fabulous.
And you can
Sounds
find
like
me.
a good time.
You can find me on X at Arsenal9986, and the YouTube channel is Bronco and VA9986, and of course you can find me here in Gooner Gathering with Posh, Lee, Matt, and Sam. So, gentlemen,
Thank you very much.
I bid you adieu. Take care now. Up to
Thank
Arsenal.
you very much, Spencer. Take care, mate. All the best. See you soon. So let's welcome in Sam. How are you doing today, Sam? You okay, mate?
Yeah, all good, thank you. I guess I should first of all say well done for getting this far with it. It's been fun. It's filled me with times that I'll remember for a while. It's allowed me to not have to watch the football on my own from time to time. Even if I'm not on the watch along, I can kind of jump in and see you. I put you on briefly against Chelsea. And I saw you doing star jumps.
It was a good time.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Fantastic.
So that gave me a little bit of a giggle.
That's what we're all about, Sam. We're all about having a bit of a laugh, and I don't mind making myself look sillier than I already am. So
it was a fun point though, because I did actually do the same. I was there going. I was at home going. Do you have to jump like this? Can you not move? I said it's
exactly.
I said, if you jump like this, you'd fall straight on your face. So that wouldn't be good, would it?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's just getting a bit daft. It's changing every week, isn't it? And then did you happen to see the McTominay handball in the game straight after?
I did.
I didn't
and
watch it.
that was, his arms were by his side, but a tiny bit out like that. I can't demonstrate the screen. So it was just a tiny bit out like that, but that was more. And the commentator actually said, well, that was probably more of an handball than Saliba's was. Yeah, Saliba and that McTominay one gave a penalty. For Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville to defend Arsenal, that takes a lot. So it has to be spot on, because you could hear the pain in their voice as they said that, both of them.
It wasn't just that; it's the pain in Neville's voice as Sanchez gave the ball away to Declan Rice, and he, no! In his voice.
Yeah,
I think our commentary was better, to be honest.
It's the only time
I didn't even see the goal.
Yeah, the only time you'll ever get such a goal like that, when it's actually just they should just, regardless of who's playing, they should say, do you know what? That takes a heck of a lot of skill to do that on your first touch. Because I certainly couldn't. If I was to do that, it'd end up over the top of the Emirates or over the top of wherever we are. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I can't talk.
I suppose I guess best tell you about my little experience in Man City, hadn't I?
Yeah, let's hear about it. How was your afternoon up at the Etihad?
See, I actually really liked the stadium. Just a shame about the team that play there, because we parked up in a random field for £10, and there was a pub just outside that was rammed with people, and you couldn't stand outside. So it almost felt like I was going to a League One or a League Two game where the football's proper. And you go into the ground, and I said, "Oh, is there like a car park like the Emirates where they all park up?" He said, "Oh no, they just park here." So it's just like a car park in front of the shop. So obviously they built this ground not knowing what was going to happen 2 years later, or however many years later. So, and then the shop was really like crammed in, but yeah, it was just there was just books, treble winners, double winners. They told you all about it. Champions League, there's Champions League everywhere. So it kind of felt like I was doing something wrong the whole time, I must admit. And I sat down and I actually said to everyone around me that I've just come along and that I'm actually an Arsenal fan. They weren't really bothered. I had a good chat with them all. Because my friend's a season ticket holder, he knows all the people around him anyway. And his missus that normally goes with him is also a Liverpool fan, so they also know that as well. But yeah, the football at Brighton just completely got outclassed first half. Doku looks a real talent. He was absolutely unbelievable. Yes, he was up against James Milner, which isn't the greatest of defenders to be up against. Fairly easy, but everybody looked scared stiff of him as soon as he got the ball. It should have been about 24-0 by half time, but it wasn't. Brighton nicked one right at the end, and then we actually left to get out the car park and not get jammed in, and we missed the red card. So yeah, that was my experience of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, a good game in the second half because Brighton slightly tried. But the first half was just complete and utter domination. It was quite interesting actually as well. You probably already spoke about Ramsdale and Raya, but Man City actually changed the keeper for that game. And I imagine Ederson will be in next game. I was speaking to the people around me and I said, that's the right way to do it. Just give your second goalkeeper an odd game so that if you do need your second goalkeeper, they're ready fit to play. They're not kind of coming in playing no games. But yeah, I was just really disappointed because when our defence were all over the place, it's normally Ramsdale that tightens it up and says, right, come on, this is shocking. And there wasn't any of that from Raya. That's what disappointed me the most, I think, because we're all going to make mistakes. Ramsdale made some mistakes. But yeah, I just know that it's only going one way. And at the moment, that's Ramsdale wanting to leave, which I don't think he's done particularly anything wrong. I would be tempted to just, like Man City doing, obviously, play the right keeper in the right game. So, for example, the Man City game, you'd put Ramsdale there in goal because he's more accustomed to those sort of games. Whereas maybe a Chelsea game, you could put Raya in, or that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what originally his plan was. But yeah, it's just a little bit disappointing, isn't it? Because Ramsdale's not done a great deal wrong. And I think actually he probably could have been needed yesterday to kind of G everyone up and kind of say, look, come on, this is not good enough. Which Raya clearly doesn't. He just kind of stood there and clapped at 2-0. And I thought, well, that's not really good enough, is it? You've been shocking. You need to tell your players that.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, I think it was kind of difficult. Like what I kind of mentioned with him that he got beat by a penalty and a bit of a fluke goal from Modric on this one. But I think we kind of moved past that for now. What I want to do, whilst I have you two here, Sam, how long can you stay for, mate? Because
I'm on another show, but I can give you like sort of another 5 minutes. So I've let them know I'll be sort of jumping in at 10 past. So
all right, so then let's make the best of the time that I've got with you here. Then let's have a quick chat about Bristol City against Arsenal in the WSL. Then shall we? Let's go. So if I talk about the match with you first, and then maybe to Matt in a little bit about the story that's gone on from today. I'm pretty sure if Matt's seen what I put in our WhatsApp group, you'll know what I'm talking about. So let's go for Arsenal going ahead in the game for a pretty much standard Katie McCabe goal, corner routine outside the penalty area. Would you like to describe for me, please?
It was an unbelievable hit, to be fair. Both goals are actually really good. Second one was more the keeper probably should have done better, get it straight at her. But the first one certainly was one you need to go and watch back if you haven't already seen it. It was a completely and utter striker's goal. It wasn't a defender's goal as such. You would expect that if you'd never watched the women's game before, that was a striker. But I guess for the rest of it, it was fairly uneventful. Bristol obviously got back into the game from a header. It was a really good header, but that was actually the first goal they scored all season.
Rachel Furness with the header.
Yeah. So
it was their only shot on target.
It was slightly disappointing to concede. I don't think we did that much wrong, really, because it was, like I say, a really good header. You struggled to keep that one out. No, keep those ones out because you headed it against the post, the inside of the post, and then it went in. And then it was pretty dire from Arsenal, really, until sort of 60 minutes. And we suddenly kicked back into life.
Sounds like the men's team.
Yeah. At least in the women's game, we had periods where we looked good when we looked dire. When the men's team, they just looked dire. I've not seen like that bad in years. But so then it was pretty uneventful. We then scored another, and then just spent the rest of the game in complete and utter domination. I don't think they got really over the halfway line from like 60 minutes in. Obviously, it was good to see Mead came back. That was the second game in, though. And then Mead will come back, of course.
Mead might come on, yeah.
Absolutely. If we can... The thing is, I think we've brought new players in and we're struggling to kind of find their place currently. It's frustrating because we've got a squad now that I think is getting close, if not as good as Chelsea's now. It's just fitting them all together. And if we can piece that together, then we'll be doing really well. But yeah, we should have scored more than two. Let's put it that way. It should have been.
We peppered their goal, in all fairness, didn't we? And there was a couple of outstanding blocks and saves by the goalkeeper.
It was her debut as well. So that was really promising for them. It was the first game that they'd played, and it was also their record attendance, I think, in the WSL. It's something like 12,000, I think.
That's magnificent at Ashton Gate. Very good. Very good indeed.
And yeah, it was also where they played the rugby the day before. So I thought the pitch was looking absolutely unbelievable to say it'd been played in rugby the day before.
Fair enough. Before you leave us, would you like to just talk about the winning goal? Another corner routine, and McCabe, another great finish.
Yeah,
from that.
It was straight at her, really, the goalkeeper. So I think the keeper would be disappointed. I think there was a defender just in front of her, which was enough to kind of put her off and not see the flight of the ball very well. But yeah, it was another outstanding shot, to be fair. I think it was close to the edge of the box again, like the first one.
A bit closer in, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit closer. But yeah, it was showing that we can not just get goals from our attackers, which is really good. A lot like the men's team, we haven't got a striker to put in goals, but that's past the point. But yeah, interestingly, speaking to that Man City fan that was sat behind me, I just spoke about saying that it's amazing that we've now got 5 or 6 players that are £100 million players, whichever way you look at it. And I can't remember the last time we had 2 or 3 of those, let alone 5 or 6. So that kind of showed how far we have come. He said, I think it would be your season this season. And I said, unless we get a serious striker in January, then I think it's yours to lose, if I'm honest.
Fair.
And it was an absolute library, so people are correct.
Oh, fair enough.
Apparently, it's a good atmosphere when the big games come around, but that's not really good enough, is it? I think I think with Man City, they've seen that much that anything other than the absolute extraordinary is just average.
I suppose that's right. You treated to too much of a good thing,
Yeah, you can certainly tell that you were coming to like a place where they'd won an awful lot. There was something in the air that they just had absolutely won everything, and you could feel that around the ground.
Fair enough. Enough.
And their beer and cider was cheaper, much cheaper than the Emirates, and the food. There was two drinks for £10, so that was much better than the Emirates when they're sort of £6.50, £7 each. So
absolutely.
Do they sell Strongbow?
No, they don't. They
never mind then.
They actually sell.
Other ciders are available, not sponsored.
It was Ashanti, the beer, or something like that. I probably murdered that. And then the cider was it was very nice actually. It was like a raspberry, but I can't remember what brand it was. It was very nice. I could have had a few more had it not have been very close to kick off.
Fair enough. Well, before we divulge into a food and drink stream, and I do believe Golden Goal have started, Sam. So if you wanted to go and join them over there and say a big hello to George for us,
I will do.
All right, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Yes.
So thank you for jumping in, Sam. Where can they find you on Twitter? And
so it's just next to my name, Sam Wilson AFC with a 1 in the space of the I. I'm never on Twitter. I just mainly go on there just to see what Posh is ranting about. To be fair, that's
what the beauty of Twitter's about. You see, it's one of the only things that is keeping that app alive, really.
Absolutely. All right, Sam. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come up and say hello to us on our birthday stream. We appreciate you. Thanks for everything you've done for us during this year, mate. And we'll see you around another time, mate.
Yes, see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Many thanks. So let's throw it to Matt here, mate. Thank you very much for hanging about there, mate. So anything you want to add on the Bristol City game before we go on to the other story that came out from today?
So yeah, essentially some of the things Sam has said is right, but also a bit wrong. This is Bristol's second game at home. On the opening day of the season, they lost 4-2 to Leicester. And if I'm honest, this game I saw very much as an end-to-end game, and that's what we got at the start of it. Arsenal went blazing, trying to get that early goal in the opening minutes. We get the corner. Steph Catley puts in the corner. Bristol try fail once again to clear their lines. It's headed out. Katie McCabe's on the edge of the box. She unleashes the volley, banger, rocket, all of the above, and that was it within the first 7 minutes. And you thought, right, okay, 7 minutes in, Arsenal don't usually score a goal within the first 10. Let's see what happens next. Hopefully get a second one soon. Rachel Furness in the end scores the equaliser. It came from a cross. It's poorly defended. Again, it's a mixture of Leah Cordina, Lotte Vubermoy, Steph Catley, and Noel Moritz, as well as the midfield, failing to make sure that everyone's picking up their runner. Lotte's got someone, Leah's got someone, and unfortunately, Rachel Furness, who's on the edge of the box, just has a free runner and is able to head it past Manu Zinsberger. Bit unfortunate, really, that there was no way she was going to get to it in time. She just sort of looked and stared as if to say, well, I couldn't do anything about that. You need to keep your head about it. But Bristol didn't really offer anything in that first half apart from that goal.
Yeah.
And really getting into that second half, I think Bristol would have been the happiest at half time. Arsenal go once again. It was pretty much Arsenal bombing, but not bombing. That's a bit of a. Let's try that again. Arsenal bombarding would probably be the best use of the word. Bristol trying to get that goal, and it took a while. It took 11 minutes before Casey McCabe, again another Steph Catley corner, puts it in the box. Rachel Furness tries to head it away, only gets as far as the penalty box, penalty spot even. Katie McCabe has so much time that no one has closed her down. She can bring it down and then volley it straight into the back of the net. And there's a reason why Katie McCabe has been so crucial for Arsenal over the years. You've seen it during the time that both Viv Miedemar, Beth Mead, Leah Williamson, Kim Little, all have been injured. There's a reason why she's a captain at Arsenal, and she's also a captain at Ireland. Is because she's capable of being the one that just marches them over the line. She's not afraid to do all that hard work at plus more, even if it does mean she gets the odd booking here and there. She didn't get one, for those wondering who's keeping count. But she was phenomenal. Got player of the match as well. It was quite touching that Vivian Miedema ended up coming on as well towards the end of that.
Just going to ask you about that.
I think everyone was happy that she was able to come on, and she got a couple of minutes just before the Netherlands play their National League games against Scotland. Because that was another huge talking point, was whether or not she was going to play first for the Netherlands or for Arsenal.
I did a short about
it. Yeah, bit of a shame that it wasn't at the Emirates or at Meadow Park, where it would have got a huge amount of cheers. But it was huge, because within the first couple of touches, she nearly put Beth Mead through on goal, and Arsenal nearly made it 3-1. But
Absolutely.
There's a lot to take away. We're now into an international break, which means a lot of our players will be playing out or international duty. So condolences to Steph Catley, Cara Cooney-Goss, and Caitlin Ford, who have to go all the way to Australia, the other side of the world. So they're going to be coming back jet lags by the time that we have Man City again. It's on the
timing,
good timing.
Hello, Hitty.
Yeah. She heard Katie McCabe and Cats came up. That's what happened. But yes, she's a lot of the players are going to be away on international duty, but it does mean that we are close to getting some of our players back, which is good to see. Especially
just
Laura.
On that point, Matt. Just on that point, we had, I think, the week before Beth Mead comes back, and then to see Miedemar come on the field for the last sort of couple of minutes of the game, and to be involved and very nearly setting up a third goal was just not. It's great to see, and just hope she comes back from the Netherlands training camp unscathed. I don't know if she'll play any minutes over there. Maybe it's more of a case of getting her back into the international fold and keeping her training. But I think very much a case of fingers crossed on that one.
Well, that is what they're doing at the moment. As soon as Viv got the injury, she was the manager at the time has always said that he'll keep Viv in the fold, no matter what. If it meant coming over doing training sessions, which she has been doing, as soon as she started running, she was able to go back over to the base in the Netherlands and do a little bit of training, making sure that it's keeping up and doing a really good job. What has surprised me is that Beth came back with just over 11 months ago. Viv's come back even with a setback. And it's just been over 10 months since she had that injury against Leon at home. So it's an interesting one that even with setbacks, the ACL, whoever's doing the behind the scenes, the strengthening, conditioning, the fitness coaches, the doctors and everyone involved in that side, they somehow managed to find a way to make sure that they are putting everyone through their paces. Laura Weinreiter now is also on her way back running. So it doesn't look as bad as it initially was. It looks like some of these players are going to be back a bit more than the 11 months. So maybe we might see Laura in April. We might see Leah now in January, which must probably be the FA Cup game or the Conti Cup game. It might be one of those games where she will be playing in to start with, which is great news because you're ahead of the curve, and it's great to see.
Absolutely. So yeah, there were lots of positive signs there, but on the other side of things, there was a bit of an interesting tweet that I saw yesterday. Oh no, it was this morning. I think it was this morning. I'll pop it up on the screen. Should be popping up any second now.
Yeah,
hopefully,
it is up.
there we go. So let's read it. It says Arsenal have released a statement to acknowledge a lack of diversity in their women's team and say it will work. They'll work to deliver a greater diversity as a priority. Right. Lots to unpack on that tweet, I think. So let's remove that off the screen. So I've been having a little look, and I get where it's coming from, but I've also been sort of having a little look and dived into the starting 11. This is a difficult subject and possibly one of the most controversial maybe things that we've ever brought up on our channel. So I'm going to bring up the starting 11 there from the game against Bristol City. So we line up there: Zinberger from Austria, Ruben Moy from England, Catley from Australia, Little from Scotland, Walty from Switzerland, McCabe from Ireland, Maritz from Switzerland, Ford from Australia, Palova from Netherlands, Russo from England, and Codina from Spain. So I understand what they're getting at, of course. So the lack of the black players basically is what we're talking about here. We don't have the Alex Scott. We don't have that sort of player around. But what we do have is players from all around the world in all sorts of ways of life as well, representing the best that Arsenal Football Club have got. I thought it was a very, how can I put it, interesting, very difficult sort of statement for Arsenal to make of it. Now, from someone who was very, very much superior on their knowledge of Arsenal ladies' side than I am, what did you make of it when you saw it today?
Well, there's a lot of issues that I had with it because it was almost like a direct attack on the club itself. And I thought it was strange that Arsenal, who had released, it all started off with the team photo. And the team photo had all the players that were the 27 players plus the coaching staff that's our squad photo. And there were fans kicking off. And then I was looking at other teams and thinking, in the WSL, there are other teams at this moment in time there are other teams in the WSL that do have this problem. It's not just Arsenal. Arsenal are being targeted not because of tradition, not because of history. It was because at that moment in time, we just released that squad photo. Other teams have done it in the past. Other teams haven't done it. Other teams have just said, this is our squad. That's it for the season. I look at other teams in the WSL that I know for certain have some of that difficulty with the diversity. The Liverpools, the Evertons. You could there's a few others in there as well. I'm pretty sure Brighton are up there as well. This isn't just a direct attack for Arsenal. This is like a whole issue within the game from grassroots and up. And the FA have been trying to sort out pathways that they can get players from not just black, but also other minorities. If you're Asian, if you're Indian, etc., whatever the case may be, if you're part of that other minorities, they're trying to create the pathways for you. I've just seen a little bit now that Jem Beattie has been mentioning that their Arsenal Academy are picking up some of these young players from inner city London to bring them into the academy so that they can at the very least be playing for the club. And that's a great initiative, and that's great to know that that's there.
Yeah.
The problem is that it needs to be more. They need to be aware that that's happening. No one's gone on record apart from Jem Beattie to say, look, it is happening. I look towards Lotte Vubermoy as well. She's
Yeah.
also been very passionate because she lives in Bow, and she's talked about it's been so inclusive, so diverse, and she recognises how privileged she was to be able to play for Arsenal, go over to American college, and then come back to Arsenal. She's using her position at the club to make sure that things like that are available for players in her community and are available for that can potentially scout future Arsenal players. Now look at the players that are in the academy at the moment. We do have a huge mixture. It is very diverse. I look towards some of the players that are out on loan at the moment. Michelle Agman, unfortunately, she's injured and she's at Watford. You look at another player, Araya Dennis, out on loan to London City Lionesses. She scored a fantastic goal for them at the weekend against Charlton. And there are players in there that in the future could be playing in this team. And it just seems to be a bit taken out of context. Arsenal already know the problem. They know the problem is already there, and they're trying to do something about it. If it means that Michelle Ackerman or Ryan Dennis or some of these others have to go, look, we're going to have to take your development into account as well, then we're going to have to send you out on loan. If it means that there's a diversity filter, I think that's a bit unfair, because at some point you're going to be cutting some players off. So, for example, if the FA decide, right, next season we're going to have a diversity filter, so you have to say 3 of your players have to come from ethnic minorities or something like that, it then becomes, I think, no, I don't know, it's very difficult to understand, but if you start doing things like that, it then becomes like, oh, this player's only be in there just to fill up a spot. Yeah. And for me, it shouldn't be that way. It should always be the best players who are available. If they come through your academy, or if you brought them out on loans, or whether whatever diversity, there have been club legends across the leagues. You look at Ian Wright, you look at Rachel Yankee, you look at Alex Scott, you look at Gilberto Silva, you look at Thierry Henry, some of the best club players in the early 2000s. I wouldn't say as much in the Emirates era have been the diverse players. I would probably say some players like Tomiyasu, if they're able to stay fit and carry on, they could be considered club legends that are in that minority. And sooner or later, it will be fixed. It's just it's a long game, and people are going to have to be patient for it. And it's a real shame that Arsenal are being targeted because it's first of all, it's a big name, and then second of all, no one's picked up any of the other clubs just because of one small thing. The club know already, as I've mentioned, the club already know the issue. They're carrying it on. They're trying to do as much as they can as possible. I do apologise because this does feel a bit of a run, but if the club is doing everything possible to make sure everyone is included, if that meant making sure everyone was available to get into the training session grounds at Hale End or London Colney, then it's something that other teams probably aren't doing, which is great to see. And it's all about working towards targets and making sure that sooner or later there'll be a bigger pathway for maybe, say, an Asian Alex Scott or a Indian Rachel Yankee or anyone else, any other person of any other minority, whatever it may be. They have found their pathway, and sooner or later it will come to light, and it's going to take a long time before it all is a lot more equal and diverse.
Thank you very much, Matt. I really want to appreciate your passion for that. Bertie.
No, carry on with what you were saying about Matt and how you admire his passion for this particular subject.
No. What I will say is that, you know, it was really good. What I was going to go to say there was that I'm very much of the opinion, doesn't matter what sort of gender of what sort of level of football we're talking about. It's very much a case of, if you're good enough, you'll play. If it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter if you're wherever you come from. If you're good enough, you'll end up on that first team field or whatever. And Matt very rightly put up the case of certain players that are actually away from the club at the moment. And in a sense, seeing the story come out today, it raised my eyebrows. And I knew it'd be a difficult subject to talk about, and probably one of the most serious things that we probably spoke about on our channel here. But it's a subject that is going to cause a lot of discussion around the whole of the the game in general. I would imagine, and it will be interesting to see what Arsenal mean by what they said with their statement today, and I think that's pretty much where I want to leave it. Is there anything you want to add, Bertie?
I just think that the vast majority of people who watch the WSL and support Arsenal and stuff, I don't think they care about this issue. I mean, let's be honest. Like when you watch the WSL, when you see Arsenal women's team, you see the team lineups. Have you ever thought, oh, there's a lack of diversity there? Did you ever think that at all? Did it come up in the back of your mind? No, I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, I think is the phrase I'm going to describe. Because, and I echo what you said, it doesn't matter what race, skin color you are as a footballer, and this applies to both the men's and women's side. As long as you're good, you go on the team sheet and you perform well, you get rewarded. It's not a huge issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. Well made as well. Right. Okay. So let's try and. Have you got anything else to add, Matt, before we sort of move it on a little bit?
No. I think we're all on the same page, and I think a lot of us are. I mean, if imagine. I know it sounds really bad, but going back to, if you look at the academy, the men's academy as well, is they're in the same. They're not in the same position because there's already the pathway, but it is a lot more diverse than some of the women. But there is still more of those minorities in there than there would be, say, if you were to put the women's academy and the women's team, you'd see the diversity between them. And honestly, I think you're both right. I think we've all made some really good points, and it's just this issue won't go away. And I think it's a bit unfair to really attack the club like this, if I'm honest. It seems a bit petty.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I want to sort of finish up on our little discussion tonight is looking ahead to tomorrow's game, if we may. So obviously Champions League, big match for us to go into after the defeat to Lens. Sevilla are just off the back of a 1-1 draw against Real Madrid. What are your expectations? I'll go to Bertie on this one first. What are your expectations on tomorrow in terms of what would you like us to do? Hello, Jordan again. Just generally, where do you see us lining up? How do you think we'll go for this game?
So I'll be quite quick, as we've been streaming for an hour and a half now. We are going the distance. It's an Ironman match. I think I personally, if I was a manager, I'd start Ramsdale in goal. I would replace Zinchenko with Tomiyasu and take a more defensive approach at the back rather than the inverted stuff. I would play our ultimate front three of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. Now there is a question of Saka, because I remember what I said previously was, if we didn't face Man City and we faced an easier team, like home to Sheffield United, for example, that was my words, I would have started Saka against Lens. We have Sheffield United at home in the Premier League. So I think I would kind of see why Saka might start against Sevilla, because, and this is going to be famous last words.
Okay.
Sheffield United aren't exactly Man City, aren't they?
I don't want to underestimate them, and
No.
I think that'd be wrong because they actually put up a darn good fight against Man United over the weekend.
But I can see why Saka might be a bit 50-50 on whether Saka would start, because he didn't look at his best against Chelsea, didn't he? So
we said this on the live, didn't we, Posh? We said that
Trossard and Martinelli maybe to start, Jesus up front.
I think there's a really good argument for Reece Nelson coming in as well in this match. But
yeah.
But we'll see. What do you think, Matt? What do you think for Arsenal lining up tomorrow?
It's going to be a difficult one. Seville have got points to prove, especially because they are pretty much in the relegation zone at the moment. You kind of want to make sure that you've got your best players, try and win the game, and then towards the 60th minute, just start taking off your best players, just so then they can have a little bit of a rest. I suppose, to be honest, I don't want to strain Saka so much. One drum that I've kept on beating is that if Saka continuously plays, he's going to get himself injured. And what happened soon, I think it's about 2-3 years later down the road, he's going to got himself injured. Now all of a sudden he doesn't look like himself. So for that point of view, you either play him in this game and then give him the rest of the weekend, or you rest him against Sevilla and then play him against Sheffield United. But if I'm honest, I'd rather play him this and give him the weekend off. That way he can make sure that he's rested, recovered properly, and he's raring to go. And if needed to, play against... sorry, AFC always has just caught my eye with goalkeepers.
7th goalkeeper to play under Arteta, he says. Martinez, Leno, Runnison, Ryan, Turner, Ramsdale, and Raya. Arteta doesn't know what he wants.
It's worth noting. It's worth noting that Runnison only played one game, and Matt Ryan and Matt Turner are also backup goalkeepers.
The only reason Runnison was brought as well was a goalkeeper coach recommended him, and then they realised the mistake a little bit too late as well, which is why Matt Ryan was brought in.
Sure he's getting time at Cardiff, is he?
I don't even know where he is anymore.
He's on loan at Cardiff, I'm pretty sure.
Is he?
Quite frankly, if he's not playing, I don't blame them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
funny, we saw Matt Ryan play for Australia, didn't we, the other day? And we might not have even realised it.
Yes. He's done really well because he's back in Australia as well. For, I believe is it Melbourne or Sydney, one of those teams. I think it is.
Fair enough. We're going off subject. We don't need to be there. We don't need to be there.
Yeah. Starting 11. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some changes, if I'm honest, because I think Arteta wants perfection, and he knows he didn't get perfection with that. So it's very much a wait and see. If I'm honest, I can't predict what he's going to do, because he seems to be 1 minute playing Ramsdale, the next minute he's playing Raya, the next minute he'll be playing Tomiyasu, the next minute he'll be playing Zinchenko.
Going to play Tomiyasu in goal. That's a different idea.
He is quite tall.
He's got the height.
I'm only playing with you. So I want you to double check the table after Matt's comment there. So Sevilla are in 13th in La Liga at the moment. But they're not got the greatest of records at the moment. Nine games gone. So that's 2 wins, that's 3 draws and 4 defeats. And Matt is actually quite right. They are in a bit of a struggle, but say it's relatively early days in La Liga, of course, and they seem to be a game behind everybody else as well. They're just on the back of the 1-1 draw over the weekend against Real Madrid. Alaba scored an own goal for Seville. Sorry, let me correct myself. So Arbeloa scored the own goal, and then Carvajal 4 minutes later, 78 minutes, got the equaliser for Real Madrid. Really going to be an interesting game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch it live because I'm on full-time daddy duty and I don't have BT Sport. But
and I'm in the office on Tuesday, and I'll be back home feeling quite tired, so I won't be able to do a solo watch along.
So what I'm thinking is that at some stage during the week, we will all reconvene and we'll have a little chat about how this very, very important Champions League game will go. And I think after, as Bertie said, about hour and a half of us waffling on, I think we probably should get out of here about now.
It's worth noting, though, Sevilla, 13th in the Spanish league, not performing below expectations, reminds me of Lens. So we've got to be very careful there. Also, Sevilla got Sergio Ramos in defence. So that's a fun fact.
They've also got.
Sorry, Matt, I didn't quite hear you, mate.
No, sorry, they've got financial issues. That's why half of their squad, well, all of their squad, was up for sale during the summer. So it'll be interesting one to keep an eye on. Got a new manager as well. Yes, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on. Maybe there might be someone that might stand out that Arsenal might want to have a look at in the January window as well.
Absolutely. But that will just about round us up for the evening. I want to say again, from my point of view, guys, if it wasn't for people jumping in on watching our streams, we wouldn't be, it wouldn't be an awful lot of fun just doing it for ourselves. We have a lot of fun doing this, and Bertie, you've been my right-hand man from day one. So thank you very much. You are a very fun guy to bounce off of, and it's always appreciated. The debates are always very interesting, and again, Gooner Gathering is all about having people's opinions. We might not always agree with each other, but we're all very respectful of each other and opinions. And that's always appreciated.
It wouldn't have been possible without the great people from Cannon Chatter. And that includes you, Mr. Roberts, because you were part of that as well.
Absolutely right.
It's always fun talking to all of you and being part of this. And it's really quite nice to sit down and talk to you guys whenever possible. So keep up the good work and happy anniversary.
Thank you very much, Matt. And before we leave, I think it would be only good, right, and proper for you to give you what you do on the other channel a shout out as well. So please give Lottie and everybody else over there a bit of a shout out for Vic Akers podcast. What would you like to say?
Yeah, so the other channel is Vic Akers Wonderland, fantastic podcast that we do with both Adam and Lottie, all talking about Arsenal in the WSL and the Champions League and the Conti Cup and the FA Cup. Have a bit of fun here and there, a bit similar to Gooner Gathering, but not live. Unfortunately, we've had to do recordings for the moment, but it's all good content. So if you do enjoy watching anything Arsenal related or want to know a little bit more on the women's game, and Vic Akers Wonderland or VAW Pod on Twitter, X, whatever you like to call it now, is the place is to follow.
Thank you very much indeed. That's really good. No, they're doing fantastic stuff. I've been keeping up to date as well. So you're doing great stuff over there, and keep up the good work over there, mate. Let's throw it to my broadcast colleague, my right-hand man, Bertie. You know the drill, son. Where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter /X at PoshBertie, and my Instagram is at BertieOneless.
Thank you very much. So we've had lots of people coming in and out today. Sam Wilson with the one where the I would be. Give a shout out to Fran as well. Golasso, Francini, of course, with her fantastic channel. She's often been a contributor on our channel, and her work is always appreciated. Of course, we had Spencer earlier on. His Twitter handle goes at cat and dog 4824, but that is what it is. You can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find all of us on the channel at Gooner Gathering. Hopefully, we will reconvene later on in the week. We'll discuss the game in the Champions League, the preview coming up for the Sheffield United game. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are out of here. So have a good evening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care.